Alright, it's about 10 in the morning, I think. That was a little later than that. About 10:47. We got some fairly fresh scratch. Not all of it's fresh, some of it is. Nice little patch of open hardwoods. Got a private pasture that way. Hopefully we don't get rained on, but there's a little storm going by somewhere close because I've been hearing thunder. There's lots of cover in this little blow-down oak tree here. I've got this one good tree standing up here. It's been about 15 minutes and I got a bird just gobbled over on private. There he goes again. I yelped at him 3 or 4 yelps and he just gobbled back at it. Looking on the map, there's some woods I can cut some distance on them. Get into this, stay in these woods here and go down the edge of that pasture pretty much. Undergrowth is real thick in here, but doesn't look like it clears up anytime soon. I hear turkey putting straight ahead out towards the private pasture. Well, we got a little bit of thunder again, and I think I heard the bird gobble way off in the distance again, like very carefully east of the edge of this field, see if I can at least get eyes on anything. They're gobbling at this thunder. It sounds like there could be more than 2. It could be a whole group of them. It looks like it might be all jakes, but I'm not 100% sure. That's a tom. It's 2 toms. That one's also a tom. Alright, 2 things. First of all, I didn't bring my battery back up, so I'm going to be limited filming here from here on out in case I get into anything, because I could possibly be stuck out here all day. Second thing is, I'm going to leave these birds for the time being. I'm going to head off into these woods in search of some other private fields. Big surprise, right? See if I can get on anything else that wants to work a call a little better. If not, I'll come back and check on these birds and see if they're still answering a call and see if they've gotten any closer. So I will check back with you all whenever something happens. Well, no luck here. Checked a couple different fields, didn't see or hear anything. Came back to where those 3 toms were last gobbling, and they've gone quiet. They've moved off. They're out of sight. They're too far on to private for me to bother fooling with if they won't even talk anymore. So at least I know there's 3 gobblers out there, and maybe I'll come back another day and try to work with them again. Alright, y'all. I'm trying a new spot here. For a change of scenery, I can actually hunt the fields out here, but I don't know what they look like yet. Looks good on the map. Looks like all agriculture. Got a good little mix of habitat here. Let's go see if we can find a bird. I just spotted a bird around this bend. I just kept walking so he didn't see me look at him or whatever, but I'm probably busted. I don't know if it's a tom, but it looked big. I'm gonna drop my gun here and try to crawl out and get a look at him. I think it's just a hen. Alright, it's just a hen. I gotta be extra careful coming around any corner. Can't let my guard down just because I'm in a hurry to be somewhere. I'm trying to get to some woods, but that doesn't mean I need to rush through these fields because it could be a big old gobbler anywhere. Well, I just spotted a strutter in the next field. I don't think he saw me. He didn't break strut. I just barely saw him peeking out from behind a bush. Gotta get into this fence row because he's in the next field. Strutting, I'm assuming he's got a hand, so this could be an interesting one, but we're gonna try. As soon as I find a spot to dip into this thicket. Yeah, he just gobbled. He's not spooked. See his hen yet. He's got one hen. I think this hen is trying to leave the tom. He keeps gobbling and trying to get her to stay out in the middle of the field. He's still following her, but the more she heads towards the tree line, the more he gobbles. Alright, she took him into the fence row. I believe they're just cutting straight over to the next field. So I'm going to get back out into this field behind me and get into a spot where I can watch him. He gobbled right back at me. I think his hen has left him. He's still right out there. Trim some of this privet out of my way so I can find me a little spot to sit. Mosquitoes are bad in here. trying to call when he puts his head down, but he's got his head up most of the time. Regardless, he was walking straight away from me. I just gave him a couple yelps and he spun around on a dime and he's strutting my way again. Hey, he's coming back this way. I'm just gonna give him a couple yelps whenever I think he's not looking. This bird seems to respond pretty well to calling, and whenever I go quiet, he hangs up and tries to drift off to the right. I think he wants to go down to the right, to my right, because there's water down there. He probably wants to roost down there. At this point, see, I'm waiting for him to just break and come in or leave. But the way he was responding to calling, I wonder if I should just call a little more aggressive. That's just as likely to run him off as it is to draw him on the string, so I don't know if that'll work, but he's going straight away from me. I think he really wants to roost down there by the water, and that's where his hen went. He lost her a while ago. I'll just do fly up cackle as a last resort thing, and then I'll sit here until I think he's on roost and maybe get an idea where he is. Well, he turned and went straight away to where he wanted to roost. I thought that's where he was wanting to go the whole time. I imagine his hen that he had is somewhere over there too, and she'll probably get with him in the morning. I can't pinpoint exactly what tree, but I know he's kind of that way. It ain't over yet. Well, I had some storms blow through. Got a little bit of rain still, so I got all my rain gear. But it should clear up this morning. I gotta hurry up and start heading down there towards where that bird went yesterday evening, because it's gonna get light here pretty soon. I'll catch y'all in the woods. He hasn't gobbled yet, so I'm not sure exactly where he's roosted. He's moved away from me. Wait, no, he's right there. He's in the field. I see him now. The bird just went straight out across the field. He's going out to where he was yesterday when he hung up. His hen never showed up. I don't know if he's going to gobble up a hen or not. Wouldn't surprise me if he does, but alright, I'm back on the end of the field where I set up yesterday, and he is not here. which I didn't think he would be. It sounded like he was headed somewhere quick. And since he stopped gobbling, I bet he's got a hen somewhere. That bird straight up disappeared on me. Guess I'll just be checking fields. And then if I can't get a visual on him, I'll just have to pick a spot in the woods and set up and call and hope he gobbles again. Well, it's a jake. We're pretty good ways from where that tom was. I bet he's still not too far from where I last heard him. He may have gone in the woods, may have got a hen. I really don't know what the heck happened to him. I had good cover moving around that field, so I highly doubt he saw me. He just took off on a mission and disappeared, basically. So I got a couple more fields to check, and then I'm probably going to loop back towards that first field where he was this morning. Well, I checked a field that I started out in this morning and didn't see anything. I was about to lay down here in the sun and take me a little nap. He just gobbled in that field, so he's out there somewhere. Rather than try to call him straight through the middle of the field like I did yesterday, I'm going to get over in this fence row and try to call him down the fence row because he's closer to that right now. I think that's probably a better setup. With field birds, if you don't have a decoy or anything, your best bet is probably going to be to call them down the edge of a field, because calling them straight across the field is usually very difficult, if not impossible to do, because they just like to hang up like he did yesterday, strut around. So he's down that way. I'm going to call this way. I can't show y'all yet because of the brush, but I just leaned forward and there's 3 hens, and the tom is strutting right behind him, and he's close to this fence row. If they keep coming on down this way, I should be able to get a shot. Alright, so I had him within probably 20 yards. And the one hen came out into my opening and stared me down. And then went back towards the tom, and they all took off back that way. Not fast, they just eased on down. I had to crawl out to the edge of the field just in time to see the tom slowly dip into this fence row I'm sitting in, so that means they're going to the next field. So I will ease on over and see if I can I'll see if I can keep up with these birds. I think I just had a hen cluck pretty close to me along the fence row. I don't see any of his hens. He just strutted his way off across the field into the woods. I believe he's gone off to private land now. I don't know what he's doing. Maybe he still has hens with him that I didn't notice. I just have to camp out for a while. He'll be back. Well, that bird went off to private land about an hour ago. I don't know if he had his hens with him or not. I didn't see him, but I'm not sure. I think I may leave him alone for a few hours and try another spot. But I bet he'll be back out in one of these fields here later this afternoon, just like he was yesterday. I don't see why he wouldn't be. He probably is going to roost in the same general area. So, we'll see if we can find another bird to play around with. Alright, I'm just going to try this spot blind for a little bit. Some nice hardwoods. Well, it's about 4 o'clock. I'm gonna spend the rest of the afternoon in here trying to catch up with this bird. Sunset's about 7:30, so we got 3.5 hours to fool with him. I'm assuming he's gonna come to roost in the same general area. Of course, he may not, but we'll find out. Well, he's not in either of these two fields yet. I bet he will be before too long. I can see a little bit of each field from where I'm sitting. So I'm going to keep my ears open and my eyes open and sit here for a while. If nothing happens in about an hour or so, I'll probably just make my way towards where he was roosted last night. I just spotted him. He's out in the field that I came through, not in these two fields. But he's out in the bigger field. So far, I've only seen one hen that he has, but I think they're working their way towards me. To my left is the cut through into the other two fields where he usually hangs out, and I think he's probably going to go to roost somewhere down that way, because if they were to roost on this field, they couldn't get down by the water where they want to be, because on the other side of this fence row in this field is real nasty and growed up and thick. So they're probably going to want to hit those next two fields, or that one field that he was in yesterday. They're probably going to head for that field, and if they do, they're going to come right by me in shotgun range. Finally. Well, there he is. Day 2. Finally the patience paid off, really. I mean, I had him fired up yesterday, and I had him answering calls this morning, but it's all up to what he wanted to do, and his hens too. He had this one hen today, he had one hen yesterday evening too. When I saw them out in this field, and knowing that they both went to roost back that way yesterday, the ideal roosting is down there because it's by some water. And then over here on this field, it's all surrounded by thicket. So they're either going to roost on the edge of this field, or they're going to cut through right here where I'm set up and go into that field and head on down to roost. And that's exactly what they were doing. That hen was about 15 yards. This bird was about, I didn't step it off, it was at least 30. Now, I changed shells. My gun's not patterning out to 40, so it's not a 40-yard gun, and it was on the end of its range. You know, in a field, it's hard to tell. He wasn't spooked. He went alert. The hen wasn't spooked either, but she was putting kind of nervously because she saw me sitting here like a big blob, and my camera doesn't really blend in very well, so she kind of picked me off, but didn't spook. Luckily, she didn't go back towards him. She went to my left, which was perfect, and he just had to take a few more steps into an opening, and I was able to get a shot at him. He's not a big old bird like I would have thought. He's just, looking at the spurs and everything, looks like your typical 2-year-old gobbler. But he had what few hens are left that aren't nesting. He had them to himself. That'll be number 3 for Tennessee. I got one more tag to fill and just over a week of season left, so fingers crossed. It's been tough. I don't know if I'll be able to fill that last tag, but you can bet I'll be out trying. All right, here's where I initially shot him. I was guessing he was about 30 yards when I shot. Yeah, it's about 30 to 32 yards. Now, my old gun, whatever choke I had in it, it would pattern to 40 yards with these shells. This gun won't, so that was max. That's as far as I need to be shooting turkey with this current setup. I'll be changing it for next season, but this late in the season, I'll just stick with it and make sure they aren't any farther than that. I definitely peppered him good. There's feathers all over the place, but he tried to get up and run. He didn't make it but 15 yards, and I finished him off. But that'll do it. Thanks for watching.